Everyone has been asking the dates of World's Strongest Man 2023, and World's Strongest Man have finally announced them. Lizzie, before we talk about anything else, tell everyone the dates.
So it's running from the 18th to the 23rd of April. Now the 18th is a Tuesday, so it's going to be 3 days of groups, 1 day of rest on the Friday, and then the weekend will be a 2-day final. So it's much more compact these days than back when we used to go for 2 weeks.
Back when old Lizzie used to come to World's Strongest Man.
Back in our day.
Yeah, I mean, before I went, it was about 2 weeks. Then when I was going, it was about 10 days. It's getting kind of shorter and shorter, but I actually kind of like the condensed time frame.
I do too, because some days it was so drawn out. You do one event in a day, and it's a bit painful waiting, isn't it?
The waiting around at Worlds is tough. I know from what World's Strongest Man have announced, they are trying to make this as fan-friendly as possible. Lots of things to do. In the area, Myrtle Beach is where World's Strongest Man is going to be.
They've actually given us the specific location too. Okay, I hope I'm saying this right, but it's Burroughs and Chapin, Pavillon Place, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. If you're local, you'll probably be able to correct me. But yes, so it's really nice to have an exact location, because before, even with the date announcement, we only had the city, and people were like, where do I need to be?
I've been at World's Strongest Man, and people are literally like ringing me. Whereabouts are you? Where's the competition going to be?
But one thing we need to talk about, I think, is its proximity to Europe's Strongest Man this year, which takes place on the first weekend of April. So it's 2 weeks apart. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel a bit bad for Giants Life, because they book up their venue so far in advance, and presumably, they can't change it, can they?
World's Strongest Man and Giants Live Tour is set. The dates are set for all their competitions, and I mean the athletes are going to have the option. Some of them would like to use the competition as a final training session.
Yeah.
Others will be thinking, some of the top guys might not compete. This is my chance to win Europe's Strongest Man. And then you get other athletes that just want to win absolutely everything, and they will compete in everything. So every athlete is different in terms of their personal build-up towards a show. And, it's a shame that they're so close.
Yeah.
But sometimes, as long as you don't get injured, it's not a bad thing doing a few shows back-to-back of each other, because you can then sharpen, you're ready.
Yeah, and also for some athletes, where just making the final of Worlds would be an achievement, actually getting the podium at Europe's Strongest Man would be a much bigger deal for them. So I think we're going to see some athletes really push hard at Europe's this year, assuming that other athletes won't come or will take it a little bit more carefully.
Absolutely.
So let's speculate, because we don't have a released list of athletes yet. I'm sure it's going to be a very slow trickle, but we know the obvious names that are going to be there. Really looking forward to seeing Mateusz back this year. Cannot wait for that. But who would you like to see, or who do you think will come out of the less obvious?
Well, we've seen that Lissis is taking the year off, which is a shame. So, taking him out, that's a disappointment from a fan's point of view. Yeah. I totally respect Lissis for making that decision. He's got to look after his body. 100% respect that. But just from the fans' point of view, he's a great athlete, so I'd love to see him competing. Now, Kiliashkovsky, if he can get through the Arnolds and compete at Worlds, that's exciting for me. Obviously, both Stoltmans training very hard for World's Strongest Man. Tom, potentially, he could be a 3-time back-to-back winner.
Who has managed that? I think it's only Bill
2 people.
Kazma
and Magnus are the only 2 people that have ever done 3 back-to-back.
So that would be quite an achievement to be able to do it.
A huge achievement.
I wonder if Brian will come this year. My gut instinct is telling me he's not going to compete.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I wasn't even thinking of Brian, which is it's a shame, I guess, because he's such an amazing strongman. But I'm trying to think of other people, sort of newer guys or different hemispheres. I'd love to see a few more representation from the kind of Australia area.
And there's so many good athletes coming through. We had 2 on the podium at OSG. I can only remember his second name because it's so great. Schoonwinkel.
Jacco.
Yes, Jacco Schoonwinkel, which is even better, and it's a name I want to be able to say quite a lot. So him, Matt Ragg, you've got Jordan Osborne, who's Australia's Strongest Man. Who else? Obviously Eddie Williams, Rongo.
It would be amazing to see those guys there.
And we're going to get to see a few of these guys compete in a couple of weeks' time at Australia's Strongest International, so it'd be good to see how they're shaping up.
Absolutely. I'd like to see some Middle Eastern representation. I know there's a lot of red tape to go around with that. So, so let's see what happens. But it would be cool to see the likes of Payman. They've got some great athletes in the Middle East. And, from what we saw last year, we saw a lot of different representation. I think the most we've ever seen at World's Strongest Man.
I think that's what they said, yeah. We need to see Rauno there this year.
Absolutely. Rauno gave up his place last year, which gave us Mitch Hooper.
Exactly.
Rauno, knowing he wasn't in shape, pulling out, allowed another athlete to come in. So I implore the athletes that compete, if you know you're going to Worlds and you're not in shape, pull out and give some new guy a chance. If you're in shape, absolutely go and give 100%. But if you kind of feel like you've got an injury, you're going to risk making it worse, you're just turning up for a free holiday, I get it, but let's make this about who's the best in the world.
Yeah, definitely.
And even saying the kind of, I want the different representation, I want the good representation.
Yeah, I think having the best athletes is more important than having
just lots of
a variety of athletes.
Sure. I mean, we want people from different regions getting into strongman, enjoying it, but we want their best athletes. Yeah, and there are fantastic athletes out there. We've said it so many times. There's so much talent right now in strongman.
And, some countries are represented more than others, like USA and UK, but there's so many good guys in those countries. It is quite hard to break through, isn't it? Like, you've got your Spencer Remix, for example, who just won OSG in November. I would love to see him compete and see what he could do.
Yeah, and the likes of Lissis coming out, that gives another spot to an American. True. So who knows? Let's see what happens in the next few months leading up to World's Strongest Man. I'm always excited for World's Strongest Man. It is the big deal. I love the Arnolds, I love the Shaw Classic, I love the Rogue. They're all incredible comps. But when it comes to Worlds, it has that bigger reach.
It does.
Everyone that's just a general fan tunes in for World's Strongest Man, and it's the competition that gets you as an athlete the most recognition.
It does. And also it's the competition that for fans and athletes was the introduction for most people to the sport, wasn't it? So and the title is still such a huge deal.
It's going to be an amazing show. There is going to be the tickets, we believe, are free.
Yeah, so there are going to be VIP options like there were last year, but they are going to make it more accessible apparently, and they're not following the exact format. But obviously, as we find things out, we will let you guys know.
So are you guys excited as Auntie Liz and myself about World's Strongest Man 2023? Going to be incredible. There's so much talent right now. I can't wait to see more events released, the athletes that get there, and then the build up to the show. It's going to be exciting.
Yes. Oh man, it's going to be stressful as well. Like groups released. I don't know why I get stressed. I want to be on the committee that helps choose the groups.
No, you don't. You'd be stressed about that. We've done that before ourselves.
Yeah, but I'm stressed because I want it perfect, but I feel I get close to perfect.
Just for ease of my life, you're perfect. Okay?
Thank you.
Right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know your thoughts down below as always. Please subscribe to the channel if you aren't subscribed already and give the video a like. Take care. We'll see you guys soon.